Okay, right. Yesterday, Sayadaw explained the impermanence, Anicca, and so when a yogi note any object which is occurring to him or her, he or she see the characteristics of the mind and the body, and through nature, through quality of them, and then he see their changes. He or she see their changes or impermanence. It is a seeing of the insight into impermanence, seeing impermanence and nature in accordance with the Buddha's teaching, Anicca, Vipassana. Impermanence must be realized. So this realization is based on one's yogi's own experience. And that Sayadaw explained this factor from both theoretical and practical aspects yesterday. And then we are able to see the manner or the impermanence of mind and the body. How the mind and the body appear and disappear, or the way they appear and disappear is actually not paramattha, is not what really exists. The mind and the body are what really exists. So what really exists, or paramattha, is not manner or impermanence, or way or impermanence. It is mind and the body. But this manner or impermanence is one way or the other connected with the mind and the body, what really exists, paramattha. So by noting continuously, closely, the object, whatever occurs to you, to us, then we are able to see the other characteristic. As a result, we find the object appear and disappear right away. This seeing or appearance and disappearance is called Aniccalupassana. So the Buddha said Aniccalupassana Vipassana. Aniccalupassana Vipassana. So the marks of impermanence must be realized. This is the expression. And then the moment we observe the object, we see the object disappear. We find the object disappear very clearly. This seeing or this observation is called Aniccanupassana. So the expression is Aniccanupassana Vipassana. So we must understand the observation of Anicca impermanence. We may not know the name, or we may not know how to label the mental state, our experience, our realization. We may not know how to label. This is what type of realization, what is called this realization. But we experience this type of realization through our observation or practice very clearly. So the insight or knowledge is there, even though we may not know how to label them, how to label that realization, but the insight is there. So the seeing and the object which occur to us, seeing the characteristic of the mind and the body, is seeing what's impermanent, Anicca. Seeing or Anicca. Nature means the things which are impermanent. So the seeing characteristic of the mind and the body is the seeing Anicca. what is impermanent. And then when you see the characteristic, you find those characteristics disappear or pass away. That seeing, that finding is a realization of impermanence, Aniccalupassana. Impermanence. So the characteristic, the true nature of mind and body, such as tightness, hardness, tension, heat, cold, warm, and then senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and so on. These mental and physical phenomena can be known to us when we observe the moment they take place, the moment they occur to us. That seeing is a realization of Anicca, a realization of mind and body, which are impermanent. In the beginning, we are expected to see the just characteristic of mind and body, which are impermanent. So we are expected to see the just Anicca, not Aniccalakkhana yet. And then when we continue noting, observing mind and body, rising and passing away, we find the characteristic of mind and body appear and disappear. That's Aniccalupassana, realization of the Aniccalupassana, the mark of impermanence. For example, when there is a heat which occurs to us, then we observe it. We experience the heat. That's seeing of Anicca. What's impermanent? The heat, which is impermanent. And then we find the heat disappear. That's seeing of the mark of impermanence. That's seeing of Aniccalupassana. It's quite clear to everybody. So, Aniccanupassana itself is called Vipassana. So with me in several way or in extraordinary way, so the impermanence, the phenomena arise and pass away. So seeing the phenomena arise and pass away is quite unusual or extraordinary. It's a different seeing, seeing from ordinary seeing, extraordinary seeing. For example, we see the heat which is occurred to us. This heat is called Anicca because this phenomena is impermanent. So this phenomena is impermanent, so it is called Anicca. So heat is Anicca. When we observe heat, and then we find the heat disappear straight away, that seeing is a Vipassana. Okay. It can be called Aniccanupassana, seeing or impermanence, or realizations of impermanence. So only when we find the mind and body, mental and physical phenomena appear and disappear, so it can be said seeing Anicca, seeing impermanence, Aniccanupassana. That is Vipassana. If we don't see the mind and the body or mental and physical phenomena disappear, then there is no Vipassana occur yet. So by inference, as long as we are not able to see the object disappear, there is no Vipassana jnana occur yet. So in the beginning, a yogi, we can see the object and then the noted mind. So the object is mostly the physical phenomena, and noted mind is the mental phenomena. We are able to distinguish between the mind and the body. That seeing, that distinguishing knowledge, is not yet called Vipassana. It's just seeing mind and the body, their characteristics. For example, when we note for rising, we can experience the physical characteristic involved in it, such as tension, tightness, movement, etc. These are just seeing or experiencing physical phenomena, not seeing impermanence yet. In the same way, when we observe the falling, we can see the physical characteristics such as the contraction and release, etc. But these are all physical characteristics, and the noted mind, we can distinguish between mind and the body. But this distinguishing knowledge is not Vipassana yet. But we start to see the real characteristic, the true nature of mind and the body. And then, when we continue our practice, we start to see the cause and effect. Because of object, due to the object, the noted mind occurs. So this noted mind and object are cause and effect. They are related, interrelated. Without object, any mind cannot take place. So if the object is the cause, and knowing mind is the effect. So yogi, or we start to see the cause and effect and their relationship. This moment also, our knowledge cannot be said Vipassana, but we just see mind and the body, their interaction. We not see yet their impermanence. So Vipassana knowledge not arise yet at that moment too. And then later we see the mind and the body, mental and physical phenomena appear and disappear right away. Then the Vipassana knowledge, insight knowledge start there. But this insight knowledge, Vipassana, cannot take place without the distinguishing knowledge, the knowledge which enables us distinguish between mind and the body, and cause and effect. Without these two knowledges, this Vipassana insight knowledge cannot take place. So when we see the mental and the physical phenomena, mind and the body arise and pass away, the Vipassana is there. That scene is called Aniccanupassana. It is the Vipassana starts there. There should be a question should be raised here so that we can make it clear to understand Aniccalupassana. So what makes us not to see Anicca impermanence clearly? Why the impermanence not obvious to us? The answer is the Buddha said, the Aniccalakkhana santatiya paticcananda na upatanti. Because of due to the series of process, the process of mental and physical phenomena cover the impermanence. So that impermanence not clear to us. due to the mental and physical series of process, series of mental and physical process. It is just like a water current or a river. Water current all the time flowing down. But we think it's the same river we are seeing all the time. But actually the preceding water and succeeding water all the time changing. We can never see the same river. All the time new water coming in, old water going down. So this series of process of water currents sees our knowledge. So we cannot see the impermanence. Similarly with the electric current, for example the fan and the bulb and the light. We think the light is continuously lighting, functioning. The light is all the time exists there as long as we are switched on. But actually the light is all the time changing. New current coming in, old current goes away. So this series of the current process make us difficult to see their changes and impermanence. So this series of process is called santati in Pali. So because of this santati, this series of process, we find it difficult to see the mind and body impermanent. So this impermanence, the mark of impermanence, is not easy to know to us. So it is this series of impermanence is always interfere with our knowledge of impermanence.
ပို့ပြီးတော့ထင်ရှားတာကတော့ချတယ်
So Sayadaw give another example to clarify the Aniccanupassana. It is just like the line or the white ants. When we see the line of white ants from distance, when we look at it from distance, so we cannot see clearly, or if we see from too far distance, we may not see anything. But if we see a little bit closer, we see just like a line, something like a line or a stick. We may see. So we mistake the individual ants for a stick or for a line or something. So if we see it the line closer, then we start to see the movement of the line. Then we realize, oh, this is not stick, not a line, that is something moving. And then if we see that closer and closer, we are able to realize the 2 or 3 ants going one after another. And then we see closer enough to see the individual ant. Then we realize these are actually ants going in line, individual ants, not a stick or not a line moving. It is individual ants. So the reality becomes clear to us. So actually this individual ants going one after another, not a line or not a stick. So we have clear knowledge. So but as long as we are not able to see the individual ends, we are still mistake the ends for something a line or like a stick or something. So our knowledge is covered with the sandati, the series of process. So in the same way, why we cannot see the anicca? Because of this series of process. Why this series of process, mental and physical process, interfere with our knowledge or impermanence? It is because we cannot see the mind and the body or mental and the physical phenomena closely. If we see them closely, if we see them close enough to see the individual phenomena, then we are able to overcome the endurance on the process. So why this series of process make us confused to see the reality or the impermanence? The reason is quite clear. We cannot see it close enough. So if we see closer, then we are able to see the mind and the body or mental and the physical phenomena individually. Then there is no chance for process to interfere with our knowledge or impermanence. So the Buddha said, why these entities interfere with our knowledge? Is because of lack of seeing, close seeing. If we see the mind and the body, the moment they take place, closely and meticulously, thoroughly, seriously, then there is no series of process obvious to us. We can see mental and physical phenomena individually. Once we see a phenomena individually, arising and passing away one after another, then the impermanence, mark of impermanence is clear to us. There's no more process of interference on the process with our knowledge or impermanence. We are able to see the impermanence of the mental and physical phenomena individually arising and passing away. That's why there is an expression the impermanence is covered with a series of process. Why? It is because we fail to observe mind and body the moment they take place. That's why the process cover up. If we observe the mind and body, mental and physical phenomena the moment they take place, we are able to see their characteristics and their arising and passing away. Then the realization of impermanence take place. So what kind of benefit? Here the question is raised. What type of benefits we can gain from the realization of impermanence? The first benefit is when we see, as a result of the realization of impermanence, we are bound to overcome or get rid of the confusion or the impermanence or the wrong, false knowledge. So we always think we are the same person from the day we were born until today. Our mind and body is the same from the day we were born until today. This is the misunderstanding. This is because of the series of process which cover up. So we cannot see the impermanence. So knowing the impermanence or ignorance or impermanence is called a type of avijja, apatipatti avijja. Is ignorance or unknowing of the impermanence. And now on top of that, we think mind and body or mental and physical phenomena is lasting long. So we think nature is a permanent. That thinking or that seeing, that view is also wrong view. That's the false knowledge. Mecha patipatti avijja. False knowledge. Knowing things wrongly. Once we able to see the truth of mind and body and their impermanence, then there is no chance for ignorance and false knowledge. Mecha patipatti avijja and mecha patipatti avijja. So to gain, to escape from those two types of avijja, ignorance and false knowledge, all we have to do is we have to observe mind and body the moment they take place. Then we are able to overcome those two types of avijja, ignorance and wrong false knowledge. This is the first benefit we can gain from realization of impermanence. And then another benefit we can get from realization of impermanence is we can suppress or we can overcome partially the pride or arrogance, conceit, the mana in Pali. So it's mana take place because we think it is I, what I am, who am I. We think ourselves, we are self-importance. So this is a mana. Once we know there is no I, no person, but there is only mind and the body, mental and the physical phenomena, no person at all, then there is no room left for pride. We are no more proud of ourselves, who or what we are. So this is another benefit we can gain from the seeing of impermanence. But mana, this pride, can be overcome, totally overcome only when we are fully enlightened as the Arhat. But in this level of knowledge also, we can defeat or we can suppress or we can put it under control partially. So just by reasoning or intellectualizing the mind and body are impermanent, we cannot see real impermanence, real nature. So realization of impermanence cannot be gained through the reasoning or intellectualization. So we must observe the mind and the body the moment they take place. Then we are able to see them appear and disappear, arising and pass away. That's seeing or real nature. It's just like in a daily life we say someone died, someone passed away. Oh, Anicca. Oh, no one is impermanent. He or she died now. Actually, the death is actually not real anicca. It is conceptual anicca, conceptual impermanence. Because mind and body arising and passing away every moment. So mind and body is dying every moment. But that impermanence cannot be seen without our own experience. In the same way, another example is when the glass broke down, or a tree died, and then we think, oh, this is impermanent. The tree died now. This death of a tree or breaking of a glass are actually not real nature, not real impermanence. This is conceptual impermanence. It's a piñati anicca. So actual impermanence. If we want to see, experience the actual impermanence, we have to observe mind and body, or mental and physical phenomena, the moment they take place. And then we see them appear and disappear right away. That's the real anicca. That's real impermanence. That's real seeing or impermanence, or seeing or real actual impermanence. So some people here counting beats, saying mind and body impermanent, mind and body suffering, mind and body not self, something like this. They are spend their time counting the beats. Each beat may be rubbed and become, smaller. The real impermanence, real knowledge of impermanence cannot take place. They may see just conceptual impermanence. If we want to see real anicca, actual impermanence of mind and body, all we have to do is just observe mind and body the moment they take place. Then we are bound to see the mind and body, their characteristics, appear and disappear right away. That's real seeing or impermanence. That's Paramanta Anicca Nupassana. So there is a question raised. So this mind and body, which are impermanent, to whom they confess they are impermanent. Janandana in Pali, those who observe them, that is the mind and body, the moment they take place, and see the mind and body, their characteristic appear and disappear. To those persons, this mind and body, they confess themselves they are impermanent. Otherwise, they deny that they are impermanent. So, just like a defendant who may not confess right away initially, then he must be tortured so that he finally make confession. Otherwise, he may deny that he is a criminal. He may deny that. But later, if he is tortured or tormented, he inevitably confesses he is committed a type of criminal. So in the same way, we have to torture our mind and body by observing them the moment they take place. Body, by observing them the moment they take place. By observing them